4 mass hysteria events that actually happened. Imagine an entire town starts laughing uncontrollably for months, until schools close, businesses shut down, and no one can explain why. Or hundreds of people dancing in the streets until they collapse from exhaustion. Some dance until they die. Just compulsive, deadly movement. These aren't myths. These aren't legends. These are documented historical events. Mass hysteria. Collective delusion. Contagious madness that spreads through populations like a virus. Today we're examining 4 mass hysteria events that prove the human mind is vulnerable to social contagion. Where reality breaks down not for one person, but for hundreds or thousands simultaneously. The dancing plague of 1518. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic. The June bug epidemic. And the monkey man of Delhi. For events that show collective insanity is real. And it can happen to anyone. Chapter 1. The dancing plague of 1518. When hundreds danced themselves to death. July 1518. Strasbourg, France. A woman named Frau Trophia steps into the street and begins dancing. Alone. No music. No celebration. Just dancing. She dances for hours. Then days. Refusing to stop. Unable to stop. Within a week, 34 others join her. Within a month, 400 people are dancing uncontrollably in the streets. Some dance until they collapse from exhaustion. Some have heart attacks. Some die. This is the dancing plague of 1518. The most bizarre mass hysteria event in recorded history. This isn't folklore. It's documented in City Council records, physician reports, contemporary chronicles, church archives. The evidence is undeniable. Hundreds of people danced themselves to injury, madness, and death. City officials, thinking the dancers needed to dance it out, built a wooden stage and hired musicians. This made it worse. More people joined. The dancing intensified. Physicians declared it a hot blood disease. The church called it divine punishment. Neither explanation helped. For weeks, the dancing continued. People collapsed. Were carried to hospitals. Some returned to dance more. Others died. By September, it suddenly stopped. As mysteriously as it began. What caused it? Modern theories include 1. Stress-induced psychosis. Strasbourg was suffering from famine, disease, and poverty. Extreme stress can trigger dissociative states. 2. Ergot poisoning. A fungus on grain causing hallucinations and convulsions. But this doesn't explain the selective dancing or its contagious spread. 3. Mass psychogenic illness. The most likely explanation. One person's stress-induced dancing became contagious through social pressure and suggestion. Once dancing started, social expectation created pressure to join. Cultural beliefs about dancing sickness made it spread. The more people danced, the more legitimate it seemed. This is how mass hysteria works. One person's psychological crisis becomes a template. Others, under similar stress, unconsciously adopt the same behavior. It spreads through observation and expectation. The dancing plague shows that reality can become collective delusion when social pressure overwhelms individual rationality. Chapter 2. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic. When an entire region couldn't stop laughing. January 30th. 1962. A mission boarding school in Tanganyika. 3 girls start laughing during class. The laughter spreads. Within hours, 95 of 159 students are laughing uncontrollably. 4 hours. 4 days. The school closes. Students return to their villages. And the laughter follows them. By the time it ended 18 months later, over 1,000 people had been affected across multiple villages. This wasn't joyful laughter. Victims described. Uncontrollable laughing fits lasting hours. Crying spells alternating with laughter. Respiratory distress. Fainting. Rashes. Pain. Inability to attend school or work. Schools closed for months. 14 schools total were shut down. Villages were paralyzed. Medical examinations found nothing physically wrong. Blood tests normal. No infections. No neurological damage. Yet the laughter was real. Physically exhausting. Socially devastating. And highly contagious. It spread through social networks. Students infected relatives, who infected neighbors. But it only affected certain demographics, primarily adolescent girls and young women. Adult men were largely immune. This suggests psychological and social factors, not biological ones. The epidemic occurred during Tanganyika's transition to independence from British colonial rule. Massive social upheaval. Uncertainty about the future. Anxiety about changing social structures. Young women, caught between traditional expectations and modern schooling, were under immense pressure. The laughter epidemic was an outlet, a socially acceptable way to express unbearable stress. Once one person began, it created permission for others. The behavior spread because it served a psychological function, releasing tension in a context where normal expression was forbidden. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic demonstrates how psychological distress can manifest physically and spread socially when populations are under collective stress. Chapter 3: The June Bug Epidemic. When workers were attacked by insects that didn't exist. June 1962. A textile factory in North Carolina. A worker is bitten by an insect. She collapses. Reports nausea, numbness, dizziness. Within days, 62 workers report the same symptoms. All claiming they were bitten by insects coming from fabric shipments. The factory shuts down. Exterminators search for the insects. Federal investigators examine the facility. They find nothing. No insects. No bites. No physical cause for the illness. This is the June bug epidemic, a textbook case of mass psychogenic illness in a modern industrial setting. The affected factory had extreme heat, poor ventilation, long shifts, high pressure quotas, low pay, monotonous work. Workers were predominantly women with families. Financial stress, work stress, physical exhaustion. When one worker collapsed and attributed it to an insect bite, others under the same stress began experiencing similar symptoms. The bites were real sensations, tingling, numbness, pain. But they weren't caused by insects. They were stress-induced psychosomatic symptoms that became contagious. Researchers documented clear patterns. Workers who saw others affected were more likely to become symptomatic. Symptoms spread along social networks, friends affecting friends. Those under greatest stress were most vulnerable. The epidemic ended when the factory implemented better conditions and the stress narrative shifted from insect attack to collective stress response. The June bug epidemic is one of many documented cases of mass psychogenic illness in workplaces. Others include factory workers reporting toxic gas exposure with no gas present. Office workers developing rashes from contaminated ventilation systems that tested clean. Call center employees experiencing seizures with no medical cause. These events share common factors. High-stress environment. Powerless workforce. Physical symptoms providing legitimate escape from intolerable conditions. Symptoms spreading through social observation and suggestion. The body expresses what the mind cannot articulate. When workers can't directly challenge conditions, psychosomatic illness becomes an unconscious form of protest. The June bug epidemic shows mass hysteria isn't just historical or exotic. It happens in modern, Western, industrial settings when collective stress exceeds human tolerance. Chapter 4: The Monkey Man of Delhi. When a city panicked over a creature that didn't exist. May 2001. Delhi, India. Reports emerge of a creature attacking people at night. Described as half man, half monkey. 4 feet tall. Metal claws. Red eyes. Springs from rooftops onto victims. Panic spreads. People arm themselves. Stay awake in shifts to watch for the creature. Police increase patrols. Within weeks, hundreds claim to have seen the monkey man. Dozens report being attacked. 3 people die, falling from rooftops while fleeing, or being trampled in panicked crowds. Investigation reveals there was no monkey man. Never was. Not one shred of physical evidence. Police conducted extensive investigations. Sketch artists drew the creature based on witness descriptions. The sketches were wildly inconsistent. Some said 4 feet tall, others said 6 feet. Some described metal helmet, others fur covering. Some said claws, others said glowing buttons. Some described monkey-like, others robot-like. No 2 descriptions matched. This suggests witnesses weren't seeing a real entity, they were experiencing expectation-driven hallucinations. Police reviewed security footage from areas where attacks were reported. Nothing. No creature. No attacks. Just normal nighttime activity. Yet the reports continued. The panic intensified. Media coverage created a feedback loop. More coverage led to more sightings, which led to more coverage. People genuinely believed they'd seen or been attacked by the monkey man. They weren't lying. They were experiencing mass hysteria amplified by media and social contagion. The epidemic likely began with 1. Actual animal encounters. Delhi has monkeys. Someone probably encountered a monkey at night, became frightened, exaggerated the encounter. 2. Media amplification. Newspapers ran sensational stories. Each story primed more people to interpret ambiguous experiences as monkey man encounters. 3. Sleep paralysis. Many attacks occurred at night. Sleep paralysis with hallucinations likely contributed to reports. 4. Social contagion. Once the narrative was established, people experiencing anything unusual at night attributed it to the monkey man. This created a self-reinforcing cycle. Reports media coverage more awareness more people primed to see the creature more reports. Eventually, authorities held press conferences explaining the psychological nature of the phenomenon. Media coverage shifted from monster hunt to mass hysteria explanation. Sightings dropped immediately. The monkey man disappeared because the collective narrative changed. The monkey man panic is particularly relevant today because it shows how media amplifies collective delusion. Modern equivalents include clown sightings that spread virally in 2016. Various challenge panics where dangers were vastly exaggerated. Health scares based on misinterpreted symptoms spreading through social media. We like to think we're rational. That we wouldn't panic over something that doesn't exist. But the monkey man of Delhi proves otherwise. Given the right conditions, stress, media amplification, social contagion, entire populations can become convinced of things that never existed. 4 events. For different causes. But one common thread, collective reality can break down. When stress is high enough, when social contagion is strong enough, when narratives are compelling enough, people will dance until they die, laugh until they collapse, report insect attacks that never happened, or see monsters that don't exist. Mass hysteria isn't ancient history. It's human psychology under pressure. And it can happen anywhere. Anytime. To anyone. Including you.